Welcome back. Brace yourself. The SGX is suggesting a big downtick to kickstart trade, so it's going to be a rather volatile trading session. Good time to get in. Mitessh Thakkar as well as Sudarshan Sukhani. Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining in. Well, you have the SGX rate on the screen. Sudarshan, how are you approaching trade today?
Good morning. See, the markets are now coming down because of a US news event and the US reaction to that news event in the US markets. We are going to follow them. So there's nothing much to do. You can't go short. As Sonia was saying, it's going to be a hard day, tough day for the bulls. Agreed. Actually, it's going to be a tough day for the bears also, for the simple reason that you cannot and you should not go short after a 300-point gap down. So today's trade is simply a wait and watch day. You don't, it's difficult to say this is a dip, go and buy it. There is a news event behind us which may not suggest it's a dip. We could be going much lower. So buying is not suggested. Selling is not suggested because we are opening with such a large gap down. Any relief rally can come during the day. It may not be tradable, but it can cut a short seller's pockets. So stay away from the trade today. But it does appear that the rally that we saw is probably coming to an end. It's too early to say that, but the first signs are now visible.
Okay, all right. So Sudarshan, appears for today, you're saying maybe stand on the sidelines may not be such a bad idea, but we'll come back to you for individual stock calls. Mitessh, what about you? Are you feeling ambitious today, or do you believe that, enjoy the win that India had last night? You have a truncated week as well, so better things to look forward to. Don't be a compulsive trader today.
Morning, Nigel. I think that may not be a bad idea. I think because of the pure reason that while, we are opening with a gap down, we are still some distance away from the critical medium-term support areas. I think Prashant or Anuj, I think Prashant was highlighting this in the morning, that around the 200 average, then the 16,950 gap. I think that is a very strong support area. So when you have a decline of this kind of magnitude, starting with a big gap down, typically, I think, it will hit those important support levels. So today may not be the best idea, or at least today morning may not be the best idea to buy into it, but closer to about 17,000, 17,020 mark with a stop below 16,950, I would want to enter a long. And as I said, I think, I'm not sure whether that will happen today or that will happen tomorrow. But the idea is that this level, if it holds, will possibly, keep the uptrend intact. But if we start breaking below that, then I think, as Sudarshan said, I'd be worried about the medium-term trend also.
Okay. Sudarshan, if it's going to be a tough day both for the bulls and the bears, what do you do with individual stocks? I mean, every day you don't need to trade, right? So perhaps hands-off is the best strategy. But if someone still wants to look at individual names, what's the list?
Yeah, that's a fair point. If someone still wants to look at individual stocks, and there's no harm, because stocks will do their own things quite often. There is a longer list of intraday short selling. Starting with GSPL, the GSPL has already been in some kind of a downtrend. It's an intraday short with a stop above 245. Intellect has been a short selling idea. It's come in my list earlier also. The stock is in a similar downtrend as GSPL, intraday short with a stop above 598. Marico is suggesting that the rallies that it saw was now facing distribution and selling pressure. So while it's not in a downtrend, the chances are it could enter a downtrend, and we are selling in anticipation with a stop above 521. Just to round it off and make it a little more cheerful, Power Grid was a very handsome player on Friday. I think that should continue. Of course, it won't cross the 3-month highs today. It's very unlikely. But a dip in Power Grid is actually a buying opportunity with a stop under 223.
Okay. We'll do one thing. Okay, Mitessh, quickly, what are your ideas for today?
So more on sell side, Coforge is a sell with a stop at 3,700, targets of 3,550. Lupin is a sell with a stop at 662, targets of 626. SBI Cards, that's a sell. Keep a stop at 921, look for targets of 866. And a solitary long is Jumble Fertilizers, which on a decline, say around 341. Buy with a stop at 334 for targets of 358.